If you look at countries where animal populations are high, and I want to give an example of Kenya, which has, say, 1.8 million donkeys. These 1.8 million donkeys feed up to 7 million people in the country. You can imagine, without these animals, where would we take the 7 million people?
The importance is to recognize how animals are very important throughout the world. They tend to be neglected, they tend to be marginalized, but this meeting is discussing how to ensure that the working animals that are used are in good condition, in good welfare, but also showing the importance of these animals to the different people. There's a tendency in governments and organisations to neglect the importance, the significance of animal power. It is being used, it will be used. There are 250 million working animals in the world, and over hundreds of millions of people are benefiting. So it's not something of the past, it's also something of the future, something that needs to be modernised, something that needs to be regulated in a fair way to basically allow people to do their livelihoods. So I think together, people from different organisations, from different regions of the world are saying that this is something that is important for the future, it's something to be done well, and it's something to be encouraged in the right ways.
Working animals, there are many different work types of animals, and in certain work types they're more vulnerable than others. We have some animals that we work with work in stone quarries, carrying stone. Some will carry garbage. Some will carry bricks in a brick kiln under very, very hot conditions, very, very difficult conditions. There are many, many working animals that work in rural areas. Many of those carry the water, they carry the wood for the family. So actually they play a huge role that isn't often seen but is very much there. It's not seen from the outside, but it's very much there. They also play a role in a lot of agricultural systems that's not really well documented or understood. They are in a lot of dairying systems, for example, where they carry the milk to the collection point, very often done by a donkey cart or a horse. They're also carrying the fodder to the cows in a cut and carry system. So they're often part of an agricultural system that's not seen. They're carrying coffee in a coffee system. So they're very often there, but they don't actually get recognized in that system.
There are millions and millions of people who rely on animals for their livelihoods. And yet animals have not received the visibility that they deserve. This meeting is therefore meant to look at the role and impact of those working animals. And it is coming at such a time that the world needs to know that animals are actually very important for people, for them to be able to survive and take care of themselves.
This is a very important meeting for bringing the role of working animals more onto the table. It brings together experts from around different domains, from the academic world, from FAO, OIE, the European Commission, and from a range of NGOs who are interested in and work with working animals around the world.
I would recommend that FAO gets through its member countries, through the Council of Ministers, to ensure that at policy level we look at working animals as a critical ingredient in poverty alleviation, because the farm work in terms of tilling or transporting goods has been very, very important in supporting poor communities in achieving their food security.
As FAO, what we preach is how best we can really maintain our animals healthy, comfortable, well housed, because not only they provide transportation service, not only they provide, soil tillage and the like, but they do give food as well. So that the welfare issue is just not left to specific group, but to the whole community. So addressing these all things, shelter, better food, with watering, and then protecting them from different illness and diseases would really be appreciated.
Working animals all over the world, and especially in the Commonwealth countries, are subjected to cruelties, both due to their economic conditions, and also because most of the people are dependent on them for their livelihoods. Their welfare is bound to be compromised. Now, this meeting is very important because we have to find ways and means of alleviating their not only their economic poverty, but also to take care of the welfare of the animals as such. So it's a combination of both human and animal welfare.
While our interest primarily as a welfare organisation is the welfare of those working animals, we do get a lot of people asking us, why are you concentrating on animals? Why are you concentrating on the welfare of animals when there are so many people in difficulty? Well, for me, I would say none of those animals are self-employed. They're all belonging to a family. They're all contributing something to people's lives. So that's our strength that we can bring to the table, to the larger development table. And we're very, very willing and open to collaborate with others, to play to our strengths. For us, our aim is the improvement of the welfare of the working animals. But we're willing to use those strengths to work with other people.
In many countries, in many situations where people have lost their animals and as a result lost their only source of livelihood because they did not take care of them. The animals either died because they could not be fed well, given water. They died because they were mistreated, abused. They may have died because they were not provided for. And so it is important that animal welfare is taken care of. And this is because if you want to provide very well for the people, you need to ensure that the animals are healthy. And if these animals are healthy, they are going to work for the people, especially the impoverished people, very well. They are going to live longer. They are going to help them in their lives. Many people would probably not link welfare to livelihoods, but from the experiences that we have had, it is a very important component of people's livelihood. The animals must be taken care of, and so their welfare is very critical.
In Kenya, working animals are extremely important, and this comes in from the arid and semi-arid areas of Kenya, whereby we have had donkeys, we have had oxen, we have had camels, helping people survive through the routine droughts which come in cyclic fashion every year, year in, year out. So working animals in our country are very, very important because they help us to see through those difficult times. And throughout the year in other areas, they are important because they provide the power to plow, they provide the power to transport water, they provide power to help in all other forms of transportation. And on the camel, it has even a bigger extra advantage. The camel, in addition to being a working animal, its milk sustains so many families, especially when drought strikes.
role is very important because it not only will the welfare of the working animals will enhance the poverty alleviation in those countries where livestock are the main backbone of agriculture. We should address these issues so that not only the welfare of the animal improves, but at the same time a good healthy animal would also increase the productivity of the farmers.
The Brook is really happy to have such a fruitful collaboration, meaningful collaboration with FAO, because the Brook can bring to the table a lot of the field experience that we've learned in our work on the ground. And FAO has a lot of experience in the higher levels of influencing at an international level and working with governments, and has the experience of that to bring to the table. It's very important, if the profile of working animals is to be recognised and they're to be given the due care and attention they deserve, then this is a very useful and very fruitful way to collaborate.
FAO obviously has a lead role because it is an international organisation working in all regions of the world, in all countries. I think it's important that FAO improves the image and importance of animal traction. I think the use of animals are important in livelihoods, in climate change, in environmental sustainability. These are all things that sometimes people within the member countries of FAO tend to neglect. They seem to think, this is something from the past. It is something for the future as well. It is something that FAO needs to be promoted that, and with a certain amount of good regulation, good control, not just negative regulation, but also positive encouragement, basically facilitating the ways of moving forward, in making it easy for the private sector, NGOs, the public sector, the users themselves, to use their animals to make supply the services that will improve the livelihoods, and to recognise this. And FAO is talking about food security, which is very important. We're talking about disaster relief, which is very important. So in all FAO sector, FAO should be working with this. And to me, one of the best mechanisms of this is the network, to link people, to link the people from the different organisations, the different disciplines, the different countries, link them together so that we can move and have a critical mass for change and improvement.